Alrighty, so welcome to the first session. So, we open on the port town of Dunstead with our good friend Kai, who has just entered town with his sister Tilly Woodrose. You've been travelling together for about a year or so now into the wilderness of the verdant expanse, and you've just recently entered the town, and as has become a theme with your sister, upon entry to the town, despite your best attempts, she's escaped your sight and has gone missing. So you've come off at a weird angle, so you kind of circumnavigate around the side a little bit onto what appears to be kind of a main thoroughfare through this town. It's a pretty small town, like it's bigger than like a very rural place. It's got some business happening, but it's not of any kind of like a city or significant size. You can see off maybe a half kilometre in the distance what appears to be some kind of plaza or square. On your left, you can see kind of the dockworks in the distance, and you can hear the sound of bells ringing and ships coming into port.
I'll just continue along the dock till I can kind of see like a commercial building or like a tavern.
Not so much a tavern, but there is some kind of like central organising area where it's like it seems there's a couple of lines forming there, and it's a little chaotic. Like there's clearly like not enough staff to manage like something of this size, but it seems to be some kind of like presiding authority over the dock, something that registers shipments coming in and out and the vessels that pass back and forth. There is one line which is just recently emptied and is free at the moment. And there's someone behind the counter.
I'll jump into that line.
So you see like someone across the counter from you. It's actually quite a short halfling, female halfling. Pretty burly though, like considering the size of the creature. Like they've got some muscle behind them. Yeah, they clearly have been on the docks for a while.
Okay.
Thick is an apt description of this individual, but identifying them as Florent. And so as you approach, like you kind of see them like crank their head up and sort of, oh, hi, how may I help you?
Hi, sorry, I was wondering if you have seen, there would have been a small girl around kind of 16, 17 that I'm looking through that may have passed through this area. She would have had a cloak at this time, it was just dark grey. I know it's not very descript, but I'm just looking for my sister, and I was wondering where I should go or how I could go about that.
Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that you're missing your sister. Unfortunately, we've had a lot of different types come through today, so I can't say I've seen someone that... I mean, there are people that match their description, but not closely enough that I could say it's definitely your sister. If you're looking to file missing persons, your best bet would be the barracks in the centre of town. If you want to try and search for them. Otherwise, maybe they've gone to the tavern or have waiting for you there. Both the tavern and the docks can be found in the centre of town by the fountain structure.
Thank you for that help. I will then head back towards the main area. Oh no! What? Before I do, I'll come back and go. Sorry, I never caught your name.
Florent is my name.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was your job. No worries. Thank you. Okay. I will. I then
make your way back to the centre region. So now paying more attention and looking for the tavern and the barracks specifically. You can identify you briefly kind of caught stock of them before, but you can see in the actual plaza area there's a large structure. Which appears to be a tavern of some description. Unnamed, interestingly enough. You get the impression this might be the only tavern in town.
I will go into the tavern.
And as you walk in the threshold, you can see off to your left a little ways from the threshold there is a pretty roaring fire. And this is a pretty full tavern. Like clearly quite a few ships have come in recently, and there's a lot of dock workers and seamen who've come in and are occupying this tavern. You do notice the what appears to be the bartender is free across the threshold, and there's a couple of tables around.
Okay, I'll go up to the bartender.
You can see, seems like a bit of a frail man, like he's on the older side, maybe in his 50s or 60s, human, but with a bit of greying hair, a little gaunt in the face.
Excuse me, sir. I was wondering if you have a second of your time. I just have a few questions to ask.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I wanted to suggest this place to one of my friends. He's in the city at the moment, but I just can't seem to see the name anywhere. I was wondering if what do I call this place? How do I recommend this place?
I mean, our normal patrons aren't particularly fussy about names, but I suppose if I had to come up with something, go with my name, which is Brethen's Tavern, if you must give it a name.
Brethen.
I'm Brethen, by the way. I'm the owner of this building.
Brethen, I was looking. I'm trying to look for my sister. She's about 16. She'll have a cloaked hood on. It's grey at the moment. I came into the city with her not that long ago, maybe an hour ago, and I can't seem to find her. I was just wondering, have you seen anyone of that description?
I have actually briefly did see someone of that description. Unfortunately, I do have to tell you that she got into an altercation with a couple of gentlemen as she entered. I don't know the nature of what the fight was, but I believe that it came to blows, and the local regiment of guards had to get involved, and they hauled them all off. So I would assume that they are probably at the tavern, at the barracks across the way. Before you go, make another perception check.
4.
You realise that you're so kind of hyper-focused on walking across and like getting this information, but as you've now received this, you kind of start to have a glance around you, to have a bit more of a look at your surroundings, and right as you do so, this large half-orc man walks right in front of you and nearly hits you across the face with his elbow as he walks past, and completely like disorients you, and is now walked off to some other table.
As he goes to walk off, I'm going to spit in his direction.
Make a performance check for me.
I'm not using that last dice I just used.
Here we go.
Make an attack roll.
We'll spit to it.
Performance.
Yeah, so it's
What are you doing, bro?
4 for you.
Oh, that's
It should be good because it's charisma.
17.
17. So you kind of sit there you stand there for a second, just kind of swirl around for a moment, and then like an artist, just line up the shot and fire straight at the back of his head, and you can see like the arc as it like slightly reaches up and just kind of drifts down square into the back of this half-orc's head, and you've had to spit up to kind of quite reach up to them.
Yeah.
But you can see as soon as it hits the back, and the head is bald, by the way. There's no hair, it's straight onto bare skin. And you see him stop dead, just where he is, and slowly turn around to face you, and you can see the look on this half-orc's face is very dissatisfied.
As he goes to do this, I'm just gonna go like this and be like, "Who the fuck is spilling drinks around here?"
Make a deception check for me. Yeah, I was gonna say you're completely dry, by the way.
Deception.
Also charisma, right?
13. So you see him kind of ponder. You feel like he stops for a second and is kind of pondering you. You're not quite sure whether he's bought the lie, but he kind of just shakes his head and then continues to wander off, kind of.
Okay. I'll continue out and go back into the barracks.
Alrighty, and so as you walk up to him, you can see it's this kind of younger, a half elf man.
I've had reports that you have a 16-year-old girl here. I believe that may be my sister. If that's true.
We did collect a few individuals quite recently. Have a quick word with the presiding officer over this district, and then you see the door open, and this very short dwarven man.
Sorry, I was wondering if you're the person I have to speak to about. I've heard rumours that potentially you have my sister here in holding.
So it's your sister that we have in you're the sibling of the person we have in holding right now.
I mean, I haven't seen the person, so I'm not sure. These are just rumours that I'm going off. I misplaced her as we came into town.
Well, if it is your sister that we have in holding, then she has quite a bit to answer for. We picked her up, and 3 other individuals from the tavern earlier today. She entered the premises and started a fight with 3 gentlemen. So, why don't we bring you back into the holding area, and we can sort out for certain if this is the individual you're looking for.
Okay. Yep.
So he kind of leads you back into this back area, and you can see a couple of holding cells off, like kind of in a laneway with 4 to the left and 4 to the right.
Yeah.
On the left-hand side, you can see a small gnomish man, quite frail, like probably hasn't been eating very well for a while. A couple of scrapes and bruises on them. The next one down from there, you do see 3 gentlemen who appear to be dock workers in the very early age, around the 15 to 20. On the right-hand side, directly opposite from them, cloak removed, you do see the form of your younger sister. Down the way, at the opposite end of the corridor, kind of presiding over this whole holding area, you do see an individual dressed in their uniform, a kind of basic chainmail.
So you were saying that potentially, if this was, my sister, should have some questions to answer for. What questions do I expect? Like, what does she need to talk about?
Well, the main thing would be, why would she start a fight with denizens of the town immediately upon entering the threshold? Like,
Yeah.
as you can see from the gentleman across there, they've been rather severely injured, as I understand it. Both you and your sister have just entered this town, and within an hour have already started causing trouble for normal denizens.
Listen, good sir. This is in fact my sister. Now, how about you and I both just go across the road, we have a drink. She's young, I think that, this is a learning experience for her, putting her in the bars, it's really scared her, like scare my child and all that kind of stuff. But how about we go across the road, I'll get you a drink, we'll chat this all out. The 2 other men are clearly okay and more capable at the moment. We just jot this down in the book, less paperwork for you, less worry for me, and you get a free beer out of it.
Could you, Mark, get this on the record? Am I to take this as you are attempting to bribe the officer presiding over this case to drop charges against an individual who is, as I have been told this story, have attempted to bribe an officer to drop charges of an individual who has started a public brawl in a public place upon entering in my town.
I was simply just asking if you would like a beer so we could discuss the options regarding my daughter. Sister, sorry.
Your daughter?
No, my sister, sorry. My sister.
Are you certain?
Yes. I'm certain. I just simply want to discuss what the options are.
Well, as it currently stands,
Do you want to use her a beer?
No, I would prefer to do this in my barracks with the person in question.
Cool. Yeah.
At this point, the outstanding fine is 50 gold pieces to absolve them of the crime,
Yep.
along with a probation period of 6 months to. If that fine has been paid, they are free to go.
No worries. How do you accept payment?
By the crown's gold that is distributed amongst the entire continent.
Okay, cool.
How else would you pay for?
I've just been to cities where sometimes they pay with shells, but I just wanted to check that we're all on the same page here. Cool. How about I go get a beer, I'll work out my finances, and I'll be back.
You're welcome to take your time.
Before you leave, sir, what was your name?
My name's Kai.
Kai. Thank you.
Nice.
Just for the record.
I will then head back to the tavern.
For the sake of the argument, would you like to describe yourself to the individual you've met?
Oh, sorry. Human.
Wow.
Sort of 5'11", late 20s.
No, he's Mark Twain. I like the name.
Adam.
Do I describe myself as well? Or?
You might as well, yes.
Okay. So I am this very slender, very skinny human. I'm very quite gaunt and white. I've got kind of black hair that has the odd streaks of grey in it. It's tied up in a bun, kind of just dressed in kind of these like a bit of a black robe. Yeah.
You're picturing like Marilyn Manson. Like the bum.
Almost.
We want to go with that.
Is it Marilyn Manson with white hair?
Yeah.
With streaks of white hair.
With
thank
streaks
you
of
very
white
much.
hair. So you head off out of the building. Once Kai has exited the building, your Sergeant Major Brethen Brestock turns to
Sorry, can you say that again?
Sergeant Major Brethen Brestock.
Who was the guy at the tavern? Because I thought that was Brooklyn.
No.
That's another person.
So we have Turson, who is at the tavern, and then we have Brethen, who is here at the barracks.
You said Brethren's tavern, didn't you?
Just
Yeah.
so Brethen, sorry, Turson is at the tavern. Brethen is at the barracks, and then we also have the Florent, who is the dock worker at the administration.
Name?
Pardon? It's not a job. Florent is indeed not a job. So, Corporal Tubain, could you go with him to the tavern, make sure he doesn't start any more trouble, and we have to lock him up as well.
Of course, sir, at once.
So, as you're exiting the barracks, you do notice, like, exiting behind you, the individual.
I'm just gonna walk a bit quicker, not run. Just walk a bit quicker.
You notice this gold man speed walking across the very awkwardly.
The casual.
I am very thirsty.
But you both make your way back to the tavern, one slightly ahead of the other. As you enter, same atmosphere as it was before. It's only been maybe.
As soon as we get in, I'm gonna try to slip into the crowd.
So you got
Like I'm gonna sit at someone's table and try to look like I'm a part of the table.
I would say
boy.
make a normal stealth roll.
Hang on.
Okay.
So he's going in ahead of me, yeah?
He has been
He sped me up.
a good 30, 40 ahead of you.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
What's his
Mine
stealth
is
like?
a 7.
7. You see this man you just met speed walking across the fountain towards the tavern. Open the door, close behind. There's a pause as you're making your way into there. Before you have a chance to open the door, you hear kind of a shocked yell, like somewhere off into the tavern. And as you open the door, you see a table about two rows in from the front area, which has all the drinks have just been spilled on the table, and you see the form of the human splayed out onto the table as they have clearly tripped, attempting to weave their way through the tables, and have knocked over the two drinks onto the people sitting at the table, which appears to be a elvish male and female, potentially on some kind of date, and both with drinks spilled all over them.
So sorry. I could have sworn that you looked just like my friends, Henrietta and Henry, but I am very, very sorry. This is not my table. I am going to try just put my arm around where the liquid is and scrape it off the table and lift up their glasses.
Yeah, so you kind of just with the arm of your cloak, just kind of give it a big sweep to kind of get the most of the liquid. It just spills onto the floor. It's not really making the floor any dirtier. The floor isn't that clean to begin with.
Mark, go to the table. Please have a sit.
After you.
I'll sit on some sticky seats.
I will say both of you make perception checks.
Nat 20, baby.
Nat 20.
10.
So you don't quite hear this, Mark, but Kai, through kind of the humdrum of the inn, of the tavern, there's quite a decent amount of ambient noise, but quite clearly, it's surprising, you do hear these slightly high-pitched peals of laughter coming from a table maybe 3 or 4 rows away from you. It's quite densely packed, but you can and glancing over, you do see the form of what appears to be a brassy orange tiefling next to not really a person you've seen much of before.
Sorry, Mark, do you mind just, while I kind of work out my finances and decide what I can kind of part with to make up for this fund, I just get a drink because I feel like it could take a little while.
Alright, so you both go up to the
Carefully
bar.
keeping an eye on
Yeah, staying close together,
Sus
like
as
not
fuck.
losing track of each other. Tursten has returned at this point. Absolutely. For Crown's Guard, just 2 copper pieces.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, that basket of broken gold. That's
Absolutely
neither
fine.
here nor there.
For a member of the Crown's Guard, absolutely.
Okay.
Brent comes back with the 2 tankards of just light ale, very standard. Taking stock of them around you, you do notice there is a small raised platform off to the side, just behind you to the left, and out from behind curtains comes a half-elf gentleman dressed in... How would you describe yourself, Hadrian?
A colourful silk gown.
Oh.
And carrying what is unmistakably, unquestionably, a set of bagpipes. This is the entertainment for the late evening of this establishment.
I'm gonna stand up and walk over to where Kai's sitting and go, hi. Yes.
I'm Mark. I don't think I've seen you around. You new here?
Yeah, we just got in this morning.
Welcome to our town.
Thank
I
you.
hope you enjoy it and the many things we have going on.
It doesn't seem like this as much as I'm used to, but
It has a charm, I've found. It tends to find its way into people's hearts. I hate to be so rude, especially after my good friend Kai here has just done such a generous thing, but would you mind leaving us be for just a couple of minutes? We need to have a conversation.
It's fine if I'm more than happy she's allowed to hear.
Is that the case?
There is nothing that I keep from people.
Just 2 minutes, if you'd be so kind. Kai, I'd just like to ask you this time. Do you understand just quite how much trouble your sister's in at the moment?
Some would say 50 gold's worth.
Some would put a number on like that. Yes,
Some
my
would
boss
put
for one, who's a man not to take much.
Yeah.
I think we've been quite lenient. Come with you. We've come to the tavern. I like to think enjoyed a drink together.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about what brings you and your sister here?
We were originally going to see some extended family, and being the older brother, our parents have asked that I, take her along with this trip. And this was supposed to be a stop along the way. However, unfortunately, we haven't come across. This is obviously a hitch up in the road, but we're hoping to move on through here in the next couple of days so that we could go see her uncle. I feel as though this treatment is a bit harsh of her, but I must respect the law.
Well, she's very dangerous,
She had very good parents in the sense that they taught her to stand up for herself and to, most of all, be victim to no one's game. So, yes, she is dangerous, but I think in a world like this, it's important that she's dangerous.
True. Some would draw a very important distinction between self-defense and picking fights in taverns. Is all I would add to that.
As I was saying, I don't know the extent of everything that happened, but I dare say that there was probably some subtext to everything that went down that neither you nor I saw. So I can only take it at face value.
I'm going to choose to believe you, Kai. I like you.
Thank you.
Now, what say we go see your friend again?
Yes. We will go over to Endurance's table.
Yeah, so the 4 of you all at the table together. You are maybe 10 feet back on the stand.
See, I told you it'd only be 2 minutes, didn't I?
yeah. Anyway, I gotta go get a drink, so I will join you right back.
Is there anything that I noticed about, obviously, this other gentleman sitting at the table that no one said hello to?
And so are you travelling with Endurance?
He sort of
It's a
doesn't
pleasure.
notice you at
It's a
first.
pleasure to meet you. My name's Mark.
sort of really enthralled by the music and doesn't notice you at first.
Doesn't seem to be paying attention to you.
Oh, sorry, I
The
didn't
Scottish
see you there. I put out my hand, but I kind of put it out sideways, and you see that it's like a webbed hand, and I go to kind of shake your hand, but it's horizontal. My name is Ben.
Going to slap the top of it.
Yeah, so you just give him a light tap on the top of the web.
6 points.
Not
Nice.
not
Nice.
enough to hurt, but
Nice to meet you. I'm Kai. And then I put my hand out as well, sideways.
Jim, Kai's made this gesture to you.
I look a bit confused and just sort of nod at the gesture.
A traveller as well, are you? Sorry, did you say your name?
Fen.
A traveller as well, were you, Fen?
Indeed, I am. From
New to these lands?
very new indeed.
Here we shake hands like this. Place it in mine.
Oh, thank you so much.
Of course. It's a pleasure to meet you. My name
It's
is
lovely to meet you too.
Mark again. And this is my
Mark.
friend
Wait, he said his hands were webbed?
Web.
Webb. So it's
Yeah,
a,
it's-
it's a
you
strange
notice it.
experience.
You know,
I assume I noticed
you
this.
tried to-
Is he human?
I would say no. So
With
I'd say-
web
so
hands, I don't think so.
I was like, what the fuck kind of human is this?
You're
Then
seeing
you're human
You're
variant.
seeing some more of the features now that you're this close.
Alright, we're good.
Would you like to describe yourself, Fan?
So you see, still holding your hand,
Yep.
still relatively unsure about this gesture, is a 5'7" tall triton, which is a species that you may not be too familiar with.
No.
They seem to be relatively
I
rare.
would say
They-
more describe what you look like.
Yeah. In terms of what I look like, I'm not burly, but I am fairly muscular, so 5'7" high. I've got fairly light blue skin over my entire body. The underarms and you can't see my chest, are white, or a lot paler. I've got quite long hair, so my hair in reality can really go because I'm so sweaty. I've got fairly long hair that is tied to a braid at the back of my head down to probably about my shoulders. You also notice on my arms and my legs and a few other places, although you can't see my legs, I do have scales protruding down to about my elbow and down here up from my shoulder. Those are a lighter green as well, and the edges are kind of like an orange green around those. So it's a very fish-like person. And
Stop whining.
Endurance and Fenwick. What brings you here?
I had to leave where I was for reasons.
Not mysterious at all. Fenwick?
I have numerous reasons for coming here.
Yeah.
But the primary one is that I really want to spread the good word of the faith that I believe in.
I just look at Mark at this point.
Oh, man of faith, are you? So I'm still stuck in that fucking Irish accent.
Oh, sorry. What is it that you are trying to spread? I'm just curious.
Oh, well, it's not. I'm not sort of shoving it in people's faces. I've heard that's not as looked highly upon. So I'm just more telling people if they're interested. So I won't bog you down unless you are. Hey, I'm getting some weird Irish things.
I'm curious in what would bring you to this talk, I guess. So whatever it is that you're spreading.
I'm trying to take in as much knowledge as I can. I come from a land. Accent's getting weird. Far, far away. I've never been this far from home.
Has this land a name?
Yes, the land itself, the continent is called.
It's still right.
It's Silra, thank you. Well, I have personally never left the city ever. So this is everything is new to me. Everything is wonderful. I look.
Sorry, what brought you two together?
I'm from Wildmount. I had to leave my home, so I got on the first ship and it went to where he was, and then he got on that ship.
So, Mark, what do you propose that I do to get my sister out of Holden?
Wait, your sister's in Holden.
Is this a conversation you want to have in front of our new friends?
Yes, I don't mind. I didn't have an issue beforehand. As I came into town, my sister had left my sight, and she had been taken into custody as there was some kind of altercation that happened here in the bar.
Just quick smoke.
I'm gonna go over to the bar.
So what can I do for you, sir?
Sorry, my sister was in here earlier, and I had heard from the local guard that she had some kind of fight.
So the three men who she got in the fight with, they're kind of troublemakers around here. Like we're used to them kind of starting shit. And I think it was Krant who but made some kind of gesture towards her that she didn't particularly appreciate.
Thank you for your time. sorry, Mark. I know that the price for releasing my sister is 50 gold pieces.
It currently, yeah.
I feel really quite bad about what's happened to these other men, especially as it's obviously been some kind of misunderstanding at best. I was wondering what price would it be to release those men, as I feel quite guilty about everything that's happened.
Unfortunately, that's going to have to be a question for Sergeant Major Brestock, unless I would know that.
I was wondering if you would join me back to the office.
You're in his office now with Mark.
Sergeant Brestock, I've been really quite troubled about everything that has happened, you know, with these three men and my sister, and I feel as though to rid my conscience, first of all, I would like to help release these gentlemen.
I failed to see how this will resolve the issue in place, but I'm interested to see where this path of action will lead you. We'll release one of the members of the group into your hand and Mark's hands.
I think it's important, Kai, that we establish some kind of understanding that you are to return and honour your side of the agreement. Yeah?
I will, as a counter, 10 gold down as a deposit if I do not return.